In this short article, it's really just a attempt to highlight the fact that Jesus spoke on judgment a number of times. And what I try to do is look at the four Gospels and isolate verses which are Jesus' statements that have some reference to judgment. And it's because very often people might claim that Jesus was about loving sinners. And yes, he did love sinners very much. But his love for sinners extended to wanting to see them get right with God. And in that process, Jesus was going to talk about judgment and warn people that there was, in fact, an eternal judgment. And in fact, the reason he went to the cross was in order to pay the price so that we don't have to face eternal judgment. And it's often said that it was given to Jesus more than anyone else in the whole Bible to talk about judgment, particularly eternal judgment. And it's this reference to eternal judgment that is the characteristic of much of Jesus' teaching. And it explains his passion, why he wanted to go to the cross. It's because he wanted to save us from eternal judgment. And that was why, his talking about judgment was meant as an act of love. It was a warning, a very severe warning, and a warning that I feel today is missing. And we're not doing anyone any favors by not telling people that there is a eternal judgment coming. It is not loving to withhold that information because it means that people won't have the knowledge they need to get the knowledge they need to understand why they need to get right with God. Knowing about eternal judgment doesn't help you in one sense get right with God. It is our faith in the Lord Jesus Christ and his death that gets us right with God. But knowing that there is an eternal judgment will motivate us to want to get right with God. And that is where the whole concept comes in. So that's what this article is really about. It's about helping us understand that it was one of the great imperatives of Jesus' public ministry was to emphasize that there was a judgment to come. And as Jesus said, what does it profit a person if they gain the whole world, but they lose their soul? He wanted to make it as stark as possible. And he said, if you're going to the judge, you'd be wise to get right with the judge before you reach the judgment seat. And so that's the reason I did this particular article. It was in order to emphasize that Jesus was very clear on this, and it was done out of sincere love. Well, thank you for listening.